starting this video on Saturday with the main idea of conveying the concept or the story we had for this garden. I'm here right at the center of the large room, the grand room. It's about 1,000 square feet, and basically everything starts here. We try to create this concept of frame around the central pieces of the garden. But the fundamental idea is that this will be a space of healing, a space of spiritual healing, not religious, but fundamentally of the soul of the user. And here we have held, hundreds of yoga sessions, meditation sessions, and Dr. Cha sessions. So this has been a space of healing. Also music, we have had music salons here. And again, the same objective is kind of experiencing a reality a little different from the physical reality. So here on this side, you have a window. So I'm very much at the center of the room. And what we see in that window is the black pine that I'm working on. So these are the two pieces that are, when we think about the story of spiritual healing and transcendence, that's how we see it from inside the room. We have the piano, we have these curtains, and this is for my grandchild, she's here. We have the Japanese doors, and very much this is the inside of the room. The events we have here, about 60 to 70 people. So that's what we see from inside, and that was the objective from the beginning, a space of spiritual healing, spiritual transcendence, and spiritual search. And I'm going outside now. So this is the entrance. Supposedly it was designed to be the main entrance, but as things evolved, it became easier for people to enter through the main entry door of the house. But this is a Japanese style gate. So we have a myrtle and another myrtle. This is called crab, myrtle, C-R-E-P-E. Myrtle, M-Y-R-T-L-E. As we enter the house here, this is the main entrance, but that white door is the door that comes out of the large room. And so when people come out of that door, they face our dry garden. The idea of this dry garden is the first announcement or the first acknowledgement of a spiritual purpose of the garden. Here is we have the Om sign. It's done in stone, and the garden is all raked in when you have a regular function or the weather allows it to be maintained. And on the other side we have a secondary garden where we have the same we talked about the three rocks or the three boulders. One is standing, is the vine, the earth, the second one here in the middle, and the third one will be the humans or human life. So when a person comes into this portion of the garden, here we have we use the hide and review approach. So here we have a screen. This is a Texas mountain laurel. It does very well here in the desert. And so here begins the first phase of this hide and review. You come around, and what you see here is the first impression of the garden. What do you see? The idea is that people would see the waterfall. The waterfall does not face the garden. The waterfall faces me here. The main rock is pointing at me in this position. You see a tree that is dead, is a purple plum. I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna plant another tree and put a little more towards the right. The purpose here is to cover the view of the waterfall. It's kind of to make it somewhat of a secret. And then as people approach it, they will see more and more of the waterfall. Here on my right, you have a black pine that I am working on, kind of sculpting. This is about 8 years old. It's still very young tree. It may take me another 10 years to have it properly shaped. And on my left, I have Aleppo pine. All my trees here all the trees in the garden are this Aleppo variety, Aleppo pine. It's a Mediterranean tree, is adapted to the climate here. And most of the gardens we have here, most of the trees we have here and we have at the Japanese garden are of this variety, this type of pine. We have some tamamonos to represent rocks. As you see, also we have the deck, very much in the Japanese style. Again, maintaining the idea of spirituality and hide and reveal. As we walk, and there are certain pieces missing, we're gonna have a pathway of rocks coming from the stepping stones and going into supposedly that area of the garden where before we had the grass. So we keep walking, and here I have a much better view of the garden. So that's kind of the hide and reveal. Now I can see a much bigger, complete picture of the garden without just, I can hear the water running when the waterfall is running. But I need to get closer to see the pathway of the water. Now, the important thing to remember as we connect it to a spiritual purpose for the garden is that with this waterfall, I'm borrowing a principle from the Pure Land Buddhism, where this river is the river of life. On the side of the construction, we have the earth. And on the other side, we would have the land of honey, the land of peace, the land of calm, beautiful green, beautiful colors, beautiful natural colors. So as we cross the river, and there is a little crossing down there, we go into this land of honey and land of the Pure Land. So coming back to this tree here, I keep walking, and there are two sculpted trees. They were sculpted by the Japanese master. I'm having trouble with this one. This is a twisted myrtle. This year it started showing some dead branches. I'm waiting to see if they come back. And this is another twisted myrtle. The beauty of this is that, let me just move a little bit to the side here, is that this tree is a windswept. It was designed as a windswept inclination, and it goes into the water, over the waterfall. So coming back to the main trail. So here, as I said, Timur, we're gonna have a walkway with rocks, like a nobedan type of walkway. And when we get here to this division of the soil, which was grass before, that's what we're gonna need your help in thinking about the plants we're gonna put here, and also a way of stepping stones. We're gonna put a stepping stones with the real rocks. Rocks that I call mountain rocks or aged rocks. For the initial place here, it was going to be like surf stone. I mean, I'll get the right name for you. So I'm walking, and here, when people get to this point, this is another view of the garden. It was, as you can imagine, it was all green and grassy. And the rocks are not in the, some of the boulders are not in the right position because we had to move to start the preparation for transplant. Here we have some hibiscus. Some of the rocks that I intend to move towards the center there, this will be the rock pointing to the divine, I mean in the three rock composition. This also we're gonna use as the rock to represent the humanity. And now you can see the back of the house. Here on top of the mountain, on top of the waterfall, we have a plant called elephant food. It does very well in this climate, and we're gonna direct it to cover most of the top of these rocks. The tree this is another pine tree. It has not been pruned. I mean, I have to prune now the next 2 weeks. But this is another sculpted pine tree. There is another sculpted pine tree here. And that's as a point, I'm pointing some of the sketches. This is what I call the Japanese privet. It does very well here. It has grown to create a hedge or a curtain to separate from the neighbor. This is the tree here. It's a beautiful tree. Again, it's not pruned. It's not the time to prune it. I'm gonna move towards the center here, the center of this elevation, where you see these two black heads here. Gonna be between them. At the end here, you see this is a Russian olive tree. It's a bonsai. It's a beautiful bonsai, and you can see it better now. And this is one has already been prepared to move, and I like to move towards going back to these stepping stones, going to the right of these stepping stones. These rocks here don't belong here. It was just part of the move. And here we have the end of the pond. It is empty now, because usually I keep the pond with water when we have activities in the house, which is always outside of the summer. Summer here is inhospitable. You cannot do anything in the summer here. And I have one more bonsai that we'd like to bring into the position where you see this bonsai. This is the bonsai number. I mean, this is the most important, all of them. And I have this, another olive tree. This is the bonsai, an olive tree. So the overall idea here is that as I talk about spirituality, when we have sessions where there are Buddhists, I don't follow Buddhism, but when they do meditation, they have what they call the walking meditation. So the person can leave from the main room, walk this way. There is a stepping stone here, and we'll be able to walk around the whole garden. So as you see here, I don't have the stepping stones, but we're going to buy the stepping stones and create another pathway that will go all around the garden. But when I say stepping stones here, I'm referring to rocks like this, because that's what we call the mountain rocks, rocks aged atop of the mountain, contrary to what we call mine pit rocks, rocks that come from the explosion of mines that are very common in this part of the country. So we like to have and maintain this notion that the rocks are billion years old. I mean, this they are. So here I'm planting. I lost some of the trees here. So in this corner, planting new. And so this is the perspective from this side of the garden. I'm in the southwest side of the garden. And that's what a person would see. Again, here this path that is dirt, We need to create a pathway with rocks to create the stepping stones, very much like this little stepping stones we have there, the 7 or 8 stepping stones. And that's how people would walk around the garden. Most of this area will be planted with plants, and that will be the new concept, kind of a more drought tolerant. As to the story, again, I repeat, is the place of healing, place of transformation, place where people can pursue their spirituality, their consciousness of the divine in whatever religion they choose to follow. We have had all kinds of groups, and we don't charge. And again, it's to promote people's well-being. So that has been the story and the purpose of the garden since we started this activity. So that's it. Thank you.